and welcome back to another episode of Insight Outlook. For this episode, I'll be discussing George Orwell's classic novel, 1984. Don't worry, no spoilers. This is a famous book that pretty much everyone has heard of, and most people were assigned it in high school. I was assigned this book in high school, and when I first read it, I thought this book was stupid. The Ministry of Truth, but it only tells lies. The Ministry of Peace, but it's constantly waging war. And the three slogans of the party: war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. This doublethink, as it's known in the book, just seemed ridiculous to me. Eye-rollingly ridiculous. I was a history buff in high school, and I knew about the 20th century totalitarian governments. But reading the book back in 1999, it just seemed like everything before the end of the Cold War was ancient. Now society is much more advanced. No one's falling for doublethink in the 21st century. Then I grew up. After September 11th, all of our American politicians voted for something called the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act, is that Orwellian enough for you? You know what being a patriot means? Giving up your civil liberties to a mindless superstate. Because patriot, good, right? The Patriot Act empowered the NSA and other shadow agencies to violate the civil liberties of American citizens. And all of our expert politicians voted for it. Without reading it, of course, because ignorance is strength. None of the politicians suffered any consequences. The mainstream media normalized it, and now we're all living with it. A funny/scary thing about society is how bad ideas become the status quo. You can look at slavery, for example, and ask, how could that ever not be considered evil? And yet, many otherwise moral people who were devoutly religious and lived by a moral code carelessly participated in it. Okay, back to the book. Plenty of reviews and lit crit have been done for 1984, so I'll just briefly describe the world of 1984. There are three superstates known as Oceania, Eurasia, and East Asia, which represent Anglo-American, Russian, and Chinese empires. They control most of the territory of the world and are constantly at war with each other over the remaining territory. The story takes place in London, which is part of Oceania. All the superstates are controlled by one-party totalitarian governments, and INGSOC is the name of the party that controls Oceania. INGSOC is Newspeak for English Socialism. Newspeak is a shortened version of English created by the party, and this is now a real word in the dictionary. It means ambiguous, euphemistic language used primarily in political propaganda. These days in American politics, political enemies will regularly accuse each other of engaging in newspeak. In this society, there are the upper-class inner-party members who make up 2% of the population. The middle-class outer-party members who make up 13% of the population. And the lower-class regular citizens make up the other 85%. The lower class are known as proles, newspeak for proletariat. Here are some good quotes from the book, and none of these spoil the book. Who controls the past controls the future. And who controls the present controls the past. To change one's mind or even one's policy is a confession of weakness. Proles and animals are free. Being without general ideas, the proles could only focus their discontent on petty, specific grievances. The larger evils invariably escape their notice. Heavy physical work, the care of home and children, petty quarrels with neighbors, film, football, beer, and above all, gambling filled up the horizon of their minds. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. Nothing was so bad as physical pain. In the face of pain, there are no heroes. I've already mentioned doublethink, another word Orwell coined that is now in the dictionary. It's the acceptance of contrary beliefs at the same time, especially in regards to political indoctrination. Doublethink is all over the place in American politics. Newspeak I've already mentioned. The term Big Brother is now ubiquitous. Thought crime. Are you understanding now why this is a classic must-read novel? Thought crime, when discovered, leads to the individual being sent to the Ministry of Love for re-education. The Ministry of Love is not about love. It's really scary. This is a scary book. It's one of the scariest novels I've ever read. It's puzzling, but I know there are people out there that don't like this book. It's true, the prose is nothing special, characters are not well developed, the story is simplistic, and those are flaws, and normally they would be major flaws. But for 1984, they are minor because the message of the book is so powerful. On my F to A+ rating scale, I have to give this book an A. Read this book and beware. I know there's a popular thought that the real dystopian future is the one from Brave New World and not 1984. Don't be fooled into believing civil liberties can't be extinguished. Do not underestimate the power of totalitarian governments. That's all I have to say about 1984, but I'll be talking about George Orwell more in future episodes. That's all for today's show. If you have any thoughts, disagreements, whatever, let me know in the comments section. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell to get updated about the next episode. Thank you.